So is anger normal or it is abnormal?
No.
Normal at times, no sometimes.
How do you say sometimes normal and
You
sometimes?
can be angry all the time, then you have to cool down. Once you get angry, you have to
Why do we have anger in us?
because we are weak.
Something doesn't go according to you, so I feel I become angry.
Yeah.
Lend out frustration. To lend out frustration.
To lend out frustration. But why do we get angry? As a child also, why do we get angry? Why the anger has come in us? What is Swabhav? As you haven't done Atmic awareness. Do the course baki hai. It's a sanskaras. We carry the karmas. That irritation is carried from the birth to birth, and maybe the irritation from many births it's there, and that sanskaras are there within us, and that is the reason we get irritated at times. As a child also, he may not have to get irritated, but he can always shout and tell, but the child gets angry at times because the sanskaras are there. Because of the sanskaras are there, the child is come back. Otherwise he wouldn't have taken, again there wouldn't have been a birth for a child. Because of the sanskaras, he is come back. Now these are some past which you do not remember why, but at times you see somebody and you dislike that person. Because they are somewhere, see, we are connected to everybody. In the complete universe, everyone we are connected to, and at times that connection comes back. I do not recognize him in this physical body, but I just see him, I get irritated, or I see him and there are some sanskars which makes me attract towards him. Maybe left out or cut off or whatever it is, and that gives me that attraction, and that anger also comes in that way. But the saddest thing is we carry on with the same sanskaras instead of we understanding that what we are. We carry on with the sanskaras and we get trapped into deeper and deeper frustrations of life.
So you didn't carry forward the sanskaras, you didn't get irritated.
No, I get irritated. Now see that at times the correction system is going on. I cannot claim that I don't get irritated or I don't get angry.
You didn't get irritated. You get aware of it very soon.
I have learned to see the self. That's what. That awareness is there. But at times you lose awareness. So I also get trapped into that thing.
That's momentary.
Momentary. And then I come back.
10 seconds.
Yeah. Then I can see myself. I'm getting into this. So that is where everybody has to come. That is what the exercise of awareness is all about. Now what is the anger related to? The relation of the anger is what? With the physical body. It's related to our sense organs only.
Yeah, emotion.
Every anger is related to a sense organ. Now when we have done the Chakra Shuddhi course, we know that till what area the sense organs are activating, and after that we come to the awareness. So we have learned to cross that, but still we do not utilize that.
I know what you're saying.
We have learned to watch when you are watching the chakra, you are even watching the sense organs. That is particular, the chakra is related to a particular sense object. So we have to cross that, because we have now learned to see things. We know where we are disturbed and why. We can go back. We have learned to go back in a physical form. We can see, but we do not utilize it.
It happens, the anger outburst happens so instantly that.
Why it is instant? Because it's been there. It's been there. Yeah, no, it's been there, and anger always comes when it is repeated. A thought which is repeated, and it's there. So when you dislike something, so you're holding on to something. No, and at time you just blast, because every saturation point comes. So every anger is repeated thought. It doesn't burst out suddenly, and you know it. It's happening to me again and again with me. Now you relate anger with yourself, with your physical self. not you as a Atman, not you as nobody, but you as somebody. So anger, in another word you can say, anger is a very selfish emotion. Why me? Mane kem? It's a very selfish emotion. If you are getting angry, underline one thing, that you are a selfish person. Because why me? Why it should be me? So what is the first stage of anger? If we go anger as a stage wise, so it suddenly, sometimes it suddenly bursts out, but before that there are some reaction already happen on the mental state. Which are that? How can you know that your neighbor is an angry man or an angry person, or your husband or your partner or your child? On the face expression, but how? It will start with that frowning, and that means he is holding. After that, irritation will come, aggressiveness will come. Aggressiveness, if you see aggressiveness in the person, understand that he is irritated and he is now moving towards. He may say that I am not angry, this is my style, right? Hello.
What is this? No, he is talking about art style. What is this? I didn't know. Good evening. Yeah, please repeat.
Like we start getting irritated, we start getting aggressive. So once you start getting aggressive, it means you are getting angry. But when you tell that person that you are irritated, he says, no, that's my style, that's my way. This is how I express. I am not angry. And when the person says I am not angry, means yes, she or he is angry. I am adding he also to it.
I'll tell you, thank God I didn't come today.
But at times anger is necessary. You need to be aggressive at times to get certain things.
But you don't have to get angry, na? You don't have to get angry. Another thing, anger we use to suppress the opposite person, to tell the opposite person that, listen, I am not
Taken for granted.
I am not a fool, and you cannot be above me. You cannot be above me. Please come.
Above me, but you can't take me for granted. That's the message one has to give, right?
But why? We'll come to that. And how much you are an angry person will come to know when she will ask you some questions, and in that questions you just have to tick yes or cross. So you don't have to write. And after in the question, if you have something, just jot it down. So in class ahead we'll talk. So when anger becomes very frequent, it is destructive. It is destructive. And most of the time, the anger is misplaced emotion. The placing is not perfect. At that moment, it wasn't required. Most of the time. No, it's there. Like suddenly you are walking. Suddenly you are walking and you are thinking, and somebody tells you hello, and you just blast out. Now that time it wasn't required. Maybe you are lost in the TV serial, and somebody, your hubby, comes and he will ask you, chai banavi chhe, and you do not know, you just lost, and he will ask you. It's just an example. And suddenly can't you say, I'm just watching? It is misplaced. It's not required in that situation. The anger was not required over there. Similar with the children. The mama is lost somewhere, and child comes and he will demand something, where she's just involved in something and she doesn't want to disturb. She cannot switch off the gas, but she will shout and yell at the child. It's a misplaced emotion at most of the time. It's not required in that particular moment, but we just blast out because we are so much involved, and we cannot hold that involvement for a few seconds, and we just blast out and we throw that person out. Next time, that person will be fearful to come in front of you and ask you for something, because he knows that you may blast anytime. Now tell me, if you have this kind of nature, will you have good relations everywhere? You can never have good relations. People may fear you, do not ask you, that doesn't mean you have a good relation with that person. In the office also, if the boss is kharus, or whoever, or at home the father is very strict, he gets angry very fast, or mother gets angry very fast, will the relation of a child and mother, or child and father, of the boss and the worker will be good?
Not a healthy relation.
Not a healthy relation, because he will be fearful, and he will pass on the message through somebody who's a chamcha type. And the relation, and at one stage he will be, because he is uncomfortable with himself. The angry person is not comfortable with himself only. Very frequently angry. If you are angry, you are angry. You cannot measure anger. Ki it's so much I have, or I have so much, because you do not know when you will blast. And most of the time, if you notice, it is misplaced. It limits the opportunities also, because when you are angry, the person doesn't come to you, so you miss the opportunities also in life, because that person doesn't want to communicate with you. Even the child and father, anywhere, husband and wife, and there are a lot of opportunities you miss in life, because there is something somebody wants to tell you, but then he doesn't want to deal with you, because you are just a angry person, and angry person thinks that they do not understand me. They think like that, but actually when you are angry you cannot think, because when you are angry your focus is again narrowed, like what we discussed last time. Your focus is narrowed, and you can only think of that particular instance where you are angry for, and you want to get back to that. So there is a vengeance in that. बदले की भावना रहती है उसमें.
And we as humans will always try to rationalize our anger.
हाँ,
Like you said, that person has to be told at that moment.
Yeah, we have reasons. Now what happens when you are angry? It's like you're holding the fire all the time. Now when you're holding the fire all the time, you cannot hold it for a longer time, so you have to throw it. Now what we do, instead of throwing it in a cooler place, we throw it on somebody else. And remember that we throw it on somebody, that person is a loved one. That person most of the time is a loved one. Closer to you. Because બીજા કોઈ સામે ચાલવાનું નથી તમારે. You will come with a double anger. So one thing I feel, you shouldn't be angry, but you can always tell him that this is what you have done, because that person is open to listen to you. For that you do not have to disturb yourself or shout, because that doesn't make any sense. The communication is very important. So there was lack of communication, and you can always say, maybe in a little sarcastic way, but you can be cool. You don't have to get bugged, because at the end what happened, he must have said sorry for 10 times and you enjoyed that. So somewhere your ego was boosted. Your ego was boosted. Okay, Varpasti sorry bola you. Very important thing is communication. You have to communicate, but you do not have to get angry. The anger is one thing. Remember, if you are an angry person, you are impatient also. Impatient.
You are agitated. You can't call me.
You are agitated.
But you could have called other.
You could have called like what she said. Then you could have called again.
Chemicals stay for 3 days. Physically it affects you.
Yeah. Will come.
I'm sure like what he said is right. Like when the other person is then come and
And that happens with time, because you start understanding. In the couple it happens, but in the staff and in the other places it doesn't happen.
That's why we are more conscious of the outwards.
Yeah.
Outside we are. That's why it's like जो घर में है वो बाहर तो अलग ही है.
Now tell me.
But in this case, if only one person every time remains cool, slowly over a period of time, he or she will start feeling, I am the one who is always compromising.
See, but then the communication stops. Then the communication stops. You know, if you have something, you will not share with that person, because you know that person will get agitated, irritated or something. You stop sharing, because the sharing is not appreciated over there. So if this happens continuously, the sharing stops. The relation between, there is a gap between the relation. The distance happens. And when there is a distance, there is no love. Then only
should be alternating, not only from one side.
it's wonderful. Let's see, exchanging ideas and the views, that is wonderful. That is appreciated. But then you don't have to get angry, because anyway, it's not natural at all.
Like something when you tell somebody 10 times that this is supposed to happen like this only, and then also that person doesn't get it.
Why is it supposed to be like this only?
Then you naturally get angry. You literally shiver. Like why?
Now who was the management was wrong somewhere. You told 10 times, the way instruction were given was the way. I do not know how the instruction were given, one thing, and it may have happened, it may happen, but that doesn't mean you can tell them 20 times without losing. This is to be done this way, this is to be done this way.
should accept the mistake.
It doesn't matter.
No, but the Sanewala is saying it doesn't matter.
No, I tell you something. The life is, Amiben, the life is all about you. સામે વાળો સમજે કે નહીં સમજે, તમે ગુસ્સે થાઓ છો, તમે નુકસાન કોનું કરો છો? સામે વાળાને તો કાંઈ ફરક નથી. ઈ તો એટલો સમજુ હોત તો એને કરી નાખ્યું હોત.
Accept that mistake. You are satisfying your ego. Yes, see, I was right.
It's all about ego.
No. He should, at least he should say, actually I forgot to.
You wanted to hear sorry.